What an appropriate song for this morning. My late wife requested that song for her memorial. And it's just stirring up some loving memories. And so we just know that the presence of Andrea and the presence of all of our loved ones is right here, right with us now. So we say good morning and welcome to our Facebook friends and congregants and family who are joining us, and also to those who will be viewing our service on our YouTube channel. And we also invite you to subscribe to our Facebook channel and also like us on YouTube, because that helps with the algorithms to spread our message even deeper and wider throughout the universe. We're continuing with our December theories, and our theme is shedding our skin. And the song just ties in so tightly with various elements of the talk this morning. So everything is working in divine right and perfect order. And our focus this month allows us to release the old and step into the new. It emphasizes embracing surrender as one of the greatest acts of trust in spirit that we can practice. Last week, our discussion centered on surrendering into the newness. I think you may be getting a theme here: surrendering and shredding, letting go of what is old and moving into the new. And we highlighted the importance of staying open and willing to embrace the surrender process, understanding that resisting and remaining in our comfort zones hinders our cooperation with the divine process, which pushes us towards awakening to something new. So when we're letting go of that old, we're creating that space for something new. And in the teachings of Science of Mind, we have various cliches, or our Science of Mind speak, if you will, and that is also true of other traditions. But one of the things that we say here is that pain pushes until vision pulls. And so the pain is that which we're continuing to hold on to. And the vision is something new that is willing to emerge, that is wanting to emerge from within us. And so today our theme and our focus is from crackly to supple. And when I saw this title, I go, oh, where are we going with this? What's the suggestion? What's the outcome here? And so I'd like to begin with this quote by Ernest Holmes, our founder, from the book Living the Science of Mind, and this is on page 426. You have to lose your hate if you wish to find love. You have to let go of everything that is unkind if you wish to discover kindness. And you have to surrender fear if you wish to discover faith. And in this very room are all of these things that we can choose to take active participation in. The teachings of Science of Mind offer to us that evolution and growth are the key qualities guiding us from hate to love. And they also help us to see aspects of our lives that are dry and brittle. Throughout the cycle of life, everything has its time, from birth to death, from new to old, as softness and flexibility comes into play. It's like applying lotion to our skin when it gets dry to keep it soft and supple. Our lives also need moisture and attention to stay healthy and vibrant. And I came across these quotes from the famous author Unknown that I think will highlight for us some of the uses for lotion and how it applies in the physical and in the spiritual. Lotion reminds us that even the driest, most cracked places in life are just waiting for a little grace to soak in. Just a little grace. If skin can go from cracked to radiant with a dab of lotion, imagine what spirit can do with those places we've neglected within ourselves. So again, it's the invitation to do the inner work. Lotion is a quiet teacher. It whispers that nothing is too dry for renewal, nothing too warm, nothing too worn for resurrection. And I'm thinking of furniture with this example. A little oil on a nice piece of wood brings back its luster. And the way lotion transforms dry skin gives me hope. If moisture can work miracles on elbows, imagine what grace can do to our hearts. And as I was reading this, I was thinking of the elbows, and some of us from my generation may remember those grandmother and mother massages. And it was the natural lotion from their bodies that went on the elbows, and sometimes on the kneecaps if you were wearing shorts. The places where science and spirituality quietly agree remind us that when lotion is used as a mindful pause, as an act of respect, as a grounding ritual, or a moment of gratitude for the body, it can support the psychological conditions in which spiritual insight, compassion, and growth are most likely to arise. In Science of Mind, the result is not evolution because of lotion. It's evolution expressed through embodied care. And so as we are evolving, as we continue to care for ourselves, we can be open at the top. We can be that place where spirit reveals itself through us. We are adapting and developing with time to become more experienced, more fluent, and more skilled, while also maintaining a beginner's mindset and continuously learning and growing. Science of Mind teaches that evolution is not about doing more. It's about seeing more clearly what already exists. We observe consciousness recognizing itself through its life cycles. Withering on the vine is one of those cycles. We all originate from a single source, whether we're human, animal, plant, or another form of life. Throughout the cycle of life, we grow, emerge, and blossom into what we are meant to become. Whether it's a leaf on a tree, a grape on a vine, it grows and eventually dries out, sometimes due to lack of water, disease, environmental stress, or seasonal change. And we're in that season of release in nature where we see the leaves falling. And I like to watch the leaves falling from the trees because there's no resistance. They just let go and very gently fall back into the earth where they are nourished. And kind of a pet peeve of mine is the cut and blow crew that comes through in our various spaces, and they blow all of the leaves and everything into a big pile, and then they take them up and haul them away. And in a previous location where I lived, I would always suggest to the gardeners that they allow the leaves in, put the fallen leaves into those places where there's no public access, and just allow them to naturally decompose and return it back to the earth. But they didn't listen, and so we move on. We move on. This cycle also reminds us that as humans, to stay hydrated and nourished, and to take care of ourselves during life's distinct phases. The life cycle is continually changing, guiding us through its natural process of growth and development. Life presents moments and opportunities. A couple of other buzzwords that we like to use in Science of Mind. This is a moment for us to be at peace. This is a moment for us to be still. This is a moment to embrace all that there is. Or this is an opportunity. I'm having a health challenge, so I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to describe the diagnosis. It's just an opportunity. Well, sometimes we have to get real within our own selves and acknowledge what's up, what's going on, and what it is that really needs to be removed from our lives so that we can grow. And some examples of moving from the old to the new is that old pair of shoes that we've broken in, or those comfortable jeans that are so worn out that they're ready to be discarded, and yet we hold on. For me, the challenge is letting go of paper and to release the digital clutter. It's not easy, but I'm making progress. In fact, I was working on something during the week and I was shredding some old papers and the shredder overheated and stopped working. So it forced me to take a break and move and do something else. And so these are just some examples of how it is that we take that pause and look at what is happening in our lives and recognize that whatever this thing is, it's inviting me to release and to let go and to create that opening for something new to do so. When we embrace new thinking, we gain a fresh experience that can be applied to every area of our lives. And eventually, we may realize that letting go of the old and embracing the new isn't so bad after all. I'm looking at it as I'm releasing a lot of papers. It's like, oh, there's new space. And I don't have to rush to fill in something with the space because my intention is to create that openness and to leave and allow that openness to be that place where new can circulate. Moving from crackly to supple involves spiritual practices which enable us to uncover what lies dormant in our subconscious, what may be lurking, and what may need a deeper healing. And so some of our practices that we offer through the teachings of Science of Mind are spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. This allows us to reframe the experience from the perspective of the inner truth, of that divine truth, and not be controlled by the wound itself. It's not about denying the pain, but affirming the deeper identity beyond it. And that deeper identity is that I am one with Spirit. I am one with God. I am one with this universal intelligence. However it is that the higher power resonates with you, whatever name it is known by, it is that place to affirm that I am deeply identified with this. Ernest Holmes called it the thing itself. I am closely identified with the thing itself. Another practice is meditation on oneness. Meditation is not an escape. It involves merging with the universal presence, helping to stabilize the mind so trauma responses such as fear, anxiety, hypervigilance, self-blame gradually lose their power in the presence of Spirit. Another practice is compassionate self-observation. And this is where we spend time quietly looking inward. This allows us to observe our thoughts without becoming attached to them. We shift the thoughts that are rooted in limiting beliefs from I am not safe, I'm broken, or I'm alone, to all needs are met, and I am a complete expression of the divine. The forgiveness practice is another spiritual practice that we engage in. And again, this is not about excusing, but it's about releasing. The forgiveness practice helps us to reveal what we consciously want to let go of for our healing. And remember, when we're engaging in our forgiveness practices, we're not forgiving the other person or the other thing or whatever it is that is taking up rent-free space in our minds. We're forgiving ourselves for holding on to that attachment to something that has caused harm or pain or suffering or disappointment or whatever it is. And so forgiveness is a very freeing practice when we allow it to be for me. I forgive myself. In fact, I'm reminded of the Hawaiian spiritual practice of Ho'oponopono. And there are 4 steps in that practice for those who may be familiar with it, or if you're not familiar with it. The steps are, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. And when we say I'm sorry, we're saying I am sorry for the collective consciousness of whatever harm that there is that was created in your lives. And when we say please forgive me, we're saying forgive me for my ignorance, of my unknowingness, and being a participant in the harm, whatever it is that reflected itself in your life. And when you say thank you, we're saying thank you to the universe for providing us with this opportunity, for reminding us that there is always something to be grateful for. And I love you is saying to the individual, to the experience, to the universe, that love is all that there is. And that from this moment on, I am choosing love. I am choosing love and only love. And so as I wrap this up this morning, in summary, I would say by shedding what does not contribute to our well-being, we can adapt healthier habits and practices for better living, which can help us transition from dry and crackly to soft and supple. By nurturing those tender spots deep within through our practices, through our spiritual practice, allows us to heal, regenerate, and restore. And as we encounter difficulties in life, remain grounded in our spiritual practices, and most importantly, remain unattached to the outcomes. I invite us now to say our affirmation for the week together, and the words will be on our monitor, and we will say it twice. I move from dry and crackly to soft and supple by nurturing tender spots deep within that heal, regenerate, and restore. Let's say it again. I move from dry and crackly to soft and supple by nurturing tender spots deep within that heal, regenerate, and restore. I invite us now to turn within as we pray together. And as we mentioned earlier in our gathering this morning, we're remembering our beloved Andrea Round, who used to sit on, let's see, my left, your right of the center. I can just see her presence and feel her energy right now, knowing that her transition took place with ease and grace, and her family surrounded her with love. And I invite you to also bring to mind anyone else who has made transitions that appears to leave a physical void in life. And that is true, there's a physical void. But we lift them into the spiritual realm, knowing that they have moved from this physical plane into that plane of immortality. And that each time we remember them, they live on in our hearts and in our minds. And I also invite us to lift up the families and the community in the area of Mount Vernon, Washington, that was impacted by floods. One of our spiritual communities is located in Mount Vernon, and the last report we heard was that the center itself was okay. However, there have been families that are experiencing the disruption and the dislocation caused by the flood. And also, I invite us to lift up into our prayers and into our consciousness this morning the violence that is taking place in the world. And I'm not going to go into naming those places. We know where they are. But what I invite us to do is to invite peace in our hearts, to invite peace into our voices, and to invite peace into our actions. And so we pray knowing that there is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is whole. It is perfect. It is complete. It is a life that lives itself through me, and this life lives itself through each one that is gathered here in the physical space, and everyone that is joining us virtually. And this life extends itself to all of its creation. And there is not a spot where God is not. And so I speak my word this morning, inviting peace into our hearts, peace into our voices, peace into our actions and activities. Moving beyond the mere idea of peace as an unachievable place, but to recognize the peace of God within passes all human understanding. And as I turn to that place within, I allow my words and my actions and my responses to be of a peaceful nature that is inviting love, that is inviting grace, that is inviting harmony, that is inviting the creative intelligence to move and to express as loving kindness in and throughout the entire planet. I speak my word this morning for places where people are gathering in the name and nature of love, knowing that along this journey that is called life, our paths may intersect. And at those points of intersection, we intersect with joy, with excitement, with enthusiasm, knowing that we're on this journey together. And this journey is taking us back to this place that is called home, because we're truly spiritual beings living in and as a human expression on our way back to the source, however it is that we identify source. And I speak my word this morning for our world at large, beginning locally with our elected leaders, with our social leaders, with our spiritual leaders, with those who have stepped up to the plate and said, yes, I am willing to be in service. And allowing that sacred act, that sacred yes, to be the place where the spirit of life and love and joy shows up. Making intelligent decisions, entering into loving negotiations, moving forward with the highest idea for the highest outcome and the best. The ultimate goal of creating a world that works for everyone exactly where they are. And I close this treatment with thanksgiving. Thanksgiving for all that there is in my life, and thanksgiving for all that there is in the life of each one. Thanksgiving for this beautiful physical location where we are located here on the Monterey Peninsula. Beauty and thanksgiving for wherever we are physically located, knowing that we create the beauty in our hearts and in our minds. And so as I release this word into that law of life, that law that always says yes, I just let it go. And I know that the demonstration manifests itself in and through my life and in the lives of all in ways that we cannot imagine, bringing a smile to our face, a smile to our hearts, and moving us from crackly into that smooth area infused by the lotion of the divine, knowing that love and only love prevails. And if any of what I have said resonates with you in any way, I invite us to affirm it together by saying, and so it is, and so it is. And now it is time for us to share our gifts through our offering. And we have an affirmation of abundance that I invite us to share together. And the affirmation will be on our monitor. Let us say that together. I recognize the presence of God within as a source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance, and is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And as a greeter passes the offering basket, we invite you to just infuse it with love, knowing that everything is happening for our highest and best, and everything is unfolding in divine right and perfect order. And before we say good morning to our Facebook and YouTube viewers, I would like to remind you that our holiday outreach, our Christmas holiday outreach this year is Heartfelt Hugs. And this was an outreach program that was brought to us, a project that was brought to us by our own Denise Kaku. And we have a goal of reaching $750 to donate to this organization. And we're asking you, if you can, to make your donation prior to the 17th, which is Wednesday. And make your donation payable to the center. And this will allow us time to write a check, and we will present the check to the recipient of, to the Greg, what is his name, Denise? Greg Amstead. Greg Amslow. Greg will be here. I'm sorry, I don't Greg, who is the founder of Creating Good and also Heartfelt Hugs, will be here next Sunday as our guest, and we will present him with the check. So, and if you would like to make a check, or if you would like to make a cash donation, you may do so. For those of you who are in the center, you may do so in our little kiosk on the hospitality table. And also to our Facebook and YouTube family, we invite you to join us next Sunday, December the 21st, for our annual holiday Christmas candle lighting celebration, which will take place during our 10:30 celebration gathering. And so if you're in the area, we invite you to come and be a part of this with us. And know that we love you, we appreciate you, and we thank God for you. And we will see you the next time.